Welcome back to my car cave. I've got my last F1 model for 2023, and it's the Ferrari SF-23 from the Italian Grand Prix. It's a BBR model. It comes in the typical BBR box with this sleeve with the embossed BBR logo. Let's go ahead and get it open and check it out. As always with BBR, it comes in this typical outer sleeve box along with this styrofoam clamshell. Open it up. Here you go. And underneath, you get these kind of twist off screws, which are kind of nice. You don't have to use a screwdriver, so they just twist out. It's kind of interesting. Okay, now we got the car out of the box. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of this car or this car significance. So, this is the Italian Grand Prix Ferrari SF 2023. In the background, you have the same Italian Grand Prix Ferrari from the 2022 season. Both of these ran in alt liveries or different liveries than normal regular season races. And this one was a tribute to Ferrari's success at Le Mans in 2023. They had come back to the sport, endurance racing at the top level for the first time in several decades. I think maybe the 70s, the last time they ran. Someone can correct that. And they successfully won the Le Mans. It was the 100th anniversary of Le Mans, not the 100th running of Le Mans, but it was a big to do. And to have Ferrari win that, I think, was extremely positive for everyone in terms of endurance motorsports. And so Ferrari ran a red livery with these yellow stripes here and this kind of yellow chevron. So Ferrari put that, the F1 team put that on this car. And then in 2022 they ran a 75th anniversary livery, which you see in the back. And again, I just released a video about all liveries on cars and how I feel about them on F1. I tend to buy them, but often as they age, I don't feel like they age well because they don't always represent the car. I think the car in the background here, that's going to be the problem where I'm ultimately going to decide that's interesting, but not consistent with the rest of the history of that car for 2022. However, this one I think looks pretty attractive. I like the yellow numbers. I like the stripe. It's not it's not this big, large yellow chunk on the back of the car like it was in 2022. This actually looks like it could have been just the Ferrari livery, and it would have been kind of interesting had they run this livery all season long, as it just was a Ferrari livery across all motorsports. So I think this one I'll feel different about in the long run. You also get Leclerc. He has a special yellow helmet for this race, as Sainz had a yellow helmet for the 2022 race. I'm less particular about the alt livery helmets. I actually kind of like them. They are more specific to a race and therefore help me identify that particular model. So that I do tend to buy a lot of alt helmets, whereas I don't as much on the car livery. So anyways, that's just kind of a bit about the livery of this car and why it's different. Again, Ferrari altered their car significantly, I believe, at Silverstone. So they ran a bodywork that was much closer to what you see on the 2022 car with that kind of bathtub design in the back. Also very similar to what Haas ran throughout most of 2023. But about halfway through the season, they changed to this bodywork. So you still have this groove channel, but it's not quite as big as it was on the car at the start of the year. And they kind of sucked in the bodywork here. There must be some radiator piece here that there was a small bulbous portion on the start of the season, and now it grew as they shrank things around whatever is back here behind it. But I'm guessing that's the radiator. I think this is a really interesting model. I think it's great. You get this, like I said, groove channel. You get these air exits here that you would see here on the front end. Ferrari was pioneering, I'm going to call it like an F duct for the 2020s. Not sure that's exactly the right term for it, but air was coming in here below the radiator inlets and then exiting out here, and I assume that's to direct air back to the rear wing for aerodynamic purposes. rather than say cooling, and then the cooling gills are here, which would be, different number of gills between, say like a Miami race or a Singapore race that's super hot, or the Italian Grand Prix, which is maybe not so hot. Um, for 2023, the end plates here are smaller than they were on the 2022 cars. This wing here is also a bit narrower. That's, race specific. It would have been wider at most of the regular races. And then back here on the 2023 car, we get all these little air veins or turning vanes across the front wing, and that was something that was banned, I believe, at the 2022 season. But then Ferrari, petitioned, or somehow it was okay for the 2023 regulations. So that was a concept that came up from Ferrari in 2022, but again, they were told not to use it. So, but it was back for 2023. So it's kind of cool to see how that's all done. Um, and then moving to the back of the car, it's pretty standard stuff here. The rear wings, I don't see a whole lot of design work in these. These have kind of been consistent throughout the years. This is a low profile wing here, so regular race would have been a little bit different, but a lot of other directional elements here for pushing the wind to various places. Still got these little bowl horns that Ferrari runs. I don't think really, maybe Haas runs it too, just because they kind of tend to share design stuff. They get this little directional flip here, as well as the way the wings or the wing mirrors are done as well. So anyways, I think it's a great looking car. It's the paint scheme, as you can see, they're slightly darker for 2022, so it's lighter color for 2023. I really like it. It's a beautiful model. I'm super happy about it. But let's go ahead and we'll talk about BBR quality and that kind of stuff in the next section. Okay, so let's talk about the quality of this model. Again, this is a BBR model, which is a higher end resin producer, and they work with many champs to produce the F1 model each year. The same as Spark works with Look Smart to produce a higher end Ferrari model out of the Spark range. So this one is a die-cast model, so a little bit different than most of the BBR products. But anyways, it's got a nice heavy weight to it. Because it's die-cast, the wheels do spin front and back. However, as been the case for many years in F1, they do not turn left or right, so no big deal. So with this, you get a little more detail. It's a higher end model, therefore it costs a little bit more than say the average mini champs or Spark does. That said, if you wait long enough, you can get them on sale, and by the time you get on sale, you're probably paying Spark money, if not mini champs money, anyways. So I think these are nice, and again, this is infinitely better than having Mattel produce your Ferrari model for each year or each season. So, anyways, let's talk about some of those decal or details. Starting with the decals. Uh, as I always say, I think Mini Champs does an outstanding job with the carbon fiber decals. In this case, they do that again. I will say, different from the previous year, the decals are a much darker black color to them. It's a little harder to pick up the patterns that they're using. So they have a checkerboard pattern here, a checkerboard pattern here, back in here, but then you have the striations here. Before, it was kind of a silvery color. It was a little bit easier to see that stuff. These are actually more consistent with the way kind of Spark does the decals. They're kind of darker. So it's harder to see with the naked eye. I'm not sure what's coming up on camera here. But that said, it's probably a little more realistic. They do you can see like little cutouts or handholds around here, like just black outlines where there's a difference in the pattern. Even here, it's checkerboard here, but striations on the stand-up part. So I think they've done a great job trying to distinguish the different patterns of the carbon fiber. Like I said, it's checkerboard here, striations here, goes back to checkerboard, more striations. Then the striations here are different on these wing planes versus this wing plane. So I think they do a good job of trying to highlight the way the carbon fiber patterns are changing. Particularly, difference in 2022, all the striations were exactly the same on these eyebrow pieces here, but on here there's about four different patterns. I'll throw up a picture or something like that. Uh, the next thing you get a little bit of photo etching that you wouldn't get on a regular release. These silver bits here have at least one kind of photo etch component to it. It's not a lot of photo etch parts. It's not GP replicas. It's also not GP replicas pricing. This is a little photo etch part. Then these tiebacks here are photo etched. But this is a plastic or a resin piece, unlike you would get on LookSmart or Spark. So not a lot there. This is plastic, this is plastic, that's plastic. So that's kind of on par with normal mini champs. The next thing you kind of would get detail level would be all these rivets here. So you have rivets all along the car. What I do like here, I think they're painted black is what, or stamped on there black somehow. What I like about them is they're a little more correct in proportion or size. I mentioned on my 1/12 GP replicas video that they use metal rivets that look great, but what I noticed is they use the same size on the 1/18 scale, which means they're too big on the 1/18 scale. They look correct on 1/12. This is 1/18 scale, and you can't imagine trying to put photo etch parts like this. That just wouldn't be possible. So I think BBR do a great job here with that. They also have all these little intricate um, cutouts in here from where the air is flowing from the front of the car. In here, there's actually a little plastic. I'll try to take a photo piece in here that's got a little carbon fiber decal. You got this little flip up here. You've got this kind of arrow element. Let me see if there's a better shot of it here. You can kind of see there. These airflows. You got the bull horns here. So a lot of little tiny details here. Good job on the wing mirrors here. But that said, here they kind of cheaped out, and it's a solid piece. When each of these are three individual air directional vanes, and Spark probably would have had a photo etch part there. So here they kind of they kind of walk back on the detail level there. They did do a really nice job on the cutouts here. It's much better than in 2022. Partly these are deeper. 2022 cars are a little more shallow, so maybe that's why these seem to look better on this particular car. Um, but that said, it's not without its flaws. One of the things I do have an issue with, as much as I love their decals, is you can see here this particular decal is already cracking and chipped away, and so you can see the red underneath the car. A little bit frustrating at this price point to have a brand new model, and that's the issue there. I'd be a little more forgiving on a mini champs or a Spark model. So not sure what happened. I guess I can try to paint that black. Obviously, I don't have the decal, so that's a bit frustrating. Uh, and additionally, it's also probably a little more frustrating is on this helmet. You can see the 16 here. That would have been done in the Monaco flag livery, so it'd be red on top, white on the bottom, like the one is. But on the six, you can see the white layer never got screen printed. So my guess is a screen print black, or the helmet is black underneath it. Then they would screen print white, and then they would screen print red over the white to make it look like the Monaco flag colors. That did not happen on this. It did happen on this side. I have not seen anything online, um, showing other models in this condition. Everything seems to be the sample model when you look at the photos online. I can't imagine mine's the only one. I think they would have obviously screen printed a bunch of these, and so someone took the decision to, instead of throwing those decals away, they just decided to go ahead and install them. So that's disappointing at this price point. I would expect better out of BBR. You do get photo etched seat belts in there. However, it's not a fabric belt; it's a plastic belt. I'm not sure that I can pick that up on this video here. I'll probably try to take a photo of it. But it definitely has a glossy shine to the seat belt, which is it should be made out of fabric. That said, they do have a lot of decals on the steering wheel, that kind of stuff. You get these really tiny decals. I believe this is in recognition of the like 100 years of the Italian Air Force or something like that. You get this kind of decal here on the eyebrow, and then these words in Italian, which this is a plastic piece with a texture on it. So they do a fantastic job of printing that out there and putting that on there, as well as these other ones that are all on the oh, no, I forget, can't even think of the word. I'm sorry, the suspension parts. That's not the right word, but anyways, I'll type it out when I recall it. So, anyways, yeah, overall, I think a great model. Definitely like it. It's got a different color than the 2022. Not sure if that's accurate or not. I just I like this color better. Anyways, it's not quite so dark, so a little bit brighter. But overall, a fantastic model. It's typical BBR quality. Again, mine has a few flaws. It's kind of disappointing, but that shouldn't deter someone from buying a BBR model. Um, if you like the video, hit like, go ahead and subscribe. That always, makes me feel better about making these videos. I love the comments, even if I don't respond promptly. I still enjoy the back and forth. So look forward to making some more videos, and thanks for watching.